What if the greatest threat to your soul isn't temptation, isn't persecution, isn't even sin, but distraction? Jesus gave us a chilling picture of what life would look like right before his return. And it wasn't what most people expect. He didn't describe a world in chaos, though that will come. He didn't describe mass rebellion, though that's happening too. Instead, he described something far more subtle, far more dangerous, and far more likely to catch believers off guard. He described a world completely distracted by normal life. People eating, drinking, marrying, buying, selling, building, planting, all normal activities, all legitimate things. Nothing overtly sinful, just normal, everyday life. And in the middle of all that normalcy, suddenly judgment falls. And an entire generation is caught completely unprepared. So what did Jesus really say about distraction before judgment? And are you one of the distracted right now? In Luke 17:26-30, Jesus paints a vivid picture of what the world will be like just before his return. Listen carefully to his words. Just as it was in the days of Noah, so also will it be in the days of the Son of Man. People were eating, drinking, marrying, and being given in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. Then the flood came and destroyed them all. It was the same in the days of Lot. People were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But the day Lot left Sodom, fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be just like this on the day the Son of Man is revealed. Read that again. What were people doing before the flood? Eating, drinking, marrying. What were they doing before Sodom was destroyed? Eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting, building. These aren't evil activities. These are normal life, necessary activities, good things. But they had become all-consuming distractions that blinded people to approaching judgment. In Matthew 24:37-39, Jesus emphasizes this point again. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. Notice that phrase. They knew nothing about what would happen. Not because they weren't warned. Noah preached for 120 years. But they were so distracted by normal life that they ignored the warning until it was too late. Here's what makes distraction so deadly. It doesn't look dangerous. It looks normal. It looks responsible. It looks like what everyone else is doing. The people in Noah's day weren't sitting around planning evil. They were living life, getting married, raising families, working jobs, building houses, all things God created us to do. But somewhere along the way, these good things became ultimate things. They became so consuming that spiritual reality disappeared. Noah was building an ark in his backyard. For decades, he was warning about coming judgment. He was pleading with people to repent. But they were too busy with weddings, careers, construction projects, and daily routines to pay attention. They looked at Noah and thought he was crazy. Judgment? What judgment? Life is good. Everything's normal. The sun rises, the sun sets, crops grow, business happens, babies are born. This is just how life is. And then the rain started, and suddenly everything changed. The door of the ark was shut, and all those normal activities, the eating, drinking, marrying, building, meant nothing. Judgment had come, the same pattern repeated in Sodom. Lot lived among people who had normalized extreme wickedness. But even beyond the moral corruption, they were distracted by everyday life. Business deals, real estate transactions, agricultural planning. They were so focused on the present that they completely ignored the warnings about their future. When Lot warned his sons-in-law to flee because judgment was coming, Genesis 19:14 says, his sons-in-law thought he was joking. They couldn't conceive that anything could disrupt their normal lives. They were too distracted to take the warning seriously, and they were destroyed. Now let's bring this into our time. What are the distractions of this generation? What's consuming people's attention, blinding them to spiritual reality, and preventing them from preparing for what's coming? First, career and financial pursuits. The endless chase for success, wealth, security. People work 60, 70, 80 hours a week climbing the ladder, building their empire, securing their future. But they have zero time for God, zero time for prayer, Zero time for spiritual growth. Jesus asked in Mark 8:36, "What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" But that question is ignored because the world is too alluring. Second, entertainment and technology. We live in the most entertained generation in history. Streaming services, social media, gaming, sports, music, endless content on demand. The average person spends over 7 hours daily on screens. 7 hours. But less than 5 minutes reading the Bible. We're amusing ourselves to death while eternity approaches. Third, relationships and family. Now hear me clearly. Family is good, marriage is good, children are a blessing. But when these things become idols, when they consume every ounce of energy and attention, when there's no room left for God, they become distractions that lead to destruction. Jesus said in Matthew 10:37, "Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Fourth, comfort and pleasure. We've engineered suffering out of our lives and replaced it with constant comfort. Climate control, convenient food, pain medication, entertainment, luxury. And in our comfort, we've lost our hunger for God. We don't need Him because we have everything, or so we think. Fifth, the cares of this world. Jesus warned about this explicitly in Luke 21:34. "Be careful, or your hearts will be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and the anxieties of life, and that day will close on you suddenly like a trap." Not just carousing and drunkenness, but the anxieties of life, worry, stress, the endless demands of modern existence, bills, health concerns, work pressure, family drama, political chaos, economic uncertainty. These aren't sinful things, but they weigh us down. They distract us. They trap us. Here's what's so tragic. The warning is everywhere. The signs are multiplying. The prophetic clock is ticking. But people are too distracted to notice. Israel is back in their land after 2,000 years. The fig tree Jesus spoke of has bloomed. Jerusalem is in Jewish hands for the first time since ancient times. The nations are aligning exactly as Ezekiel prophesied. Technology exists for a one-world government and the mark of the beast. Moral collapse is accelerating. Deception is spreading. False prophets are multiplying. Every sign Jesus gave is manifesting simultaneously. But the world keeps spinning. People keep eating, drinking, marrying, buying, selling. Life goes on. Nothing seems different, so they assume nothing is different. This is exactly what Peter prophesied in 2 Peter 3:3-4. "Above all, you must understand that in the last days scoffers will come, scoffing and following their own evil desires. They will say, 'Where is this coming he promised? Ever since our ancestors died, everything goes on as it has since the beginning of creation.'" Everything goes on. That's the deception. The normalcy of life becomes proof that nothing is changing. But underneath the surface, everything is changing. The stage is being set. The pieces are moving into position. And judgment is approaching. Just like in Noah's day. Just like in Lot's day. Normal life continuing right up until the moment it doesn't. 1 Thessalonians 5:2-3 describes it perfectly. "For you know very well that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly, as labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape." Peace and safety. That's what people will be saying. Everything's fine. Life is normal. We're okay. And in that moment of false security, destruction. Jesus told another story about distraction in Luke 12:16-21. A rich man had a successful harvest. His barns were full. So he made plans to tear down his barns and build bigger ones. He said to himself, "You have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" Jesus concluded, "This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves but is not rich toward God." This man wasn't doing anything outwardly sinful. He was successful. He was planning. He was building for the future. But he was so distracted by earthly prosperity that he completely ignored his spiritual poverty. And that very night his soul was required of him. That's the danger of distraction. You can be successful, prosperous, surrounded by abundance, and still be completely unprepared for eternity. Martha in Luke 10 was the same. She was busy serving Jesus, literally doing good work. But Jesus told her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Martha was distracted by good things, important things, but she was missing the one thing that mattered most, sitting at Jesus' feet. So what's the answer? How do we avoid being distracted like the generation before the flood? Jesus gives us the answer in Mark 13:33-37. Be on guard. Be alert. You do not know when that time will come. It's like a man going away. He leaves his house and puts his servants in charge, each with their assigned task, and tells the one at the door to keep watch. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know when the owner of the house will come back, whether in the evening or at midnight or when the rooster crows or at dawn. If he comes suddenly, do not let him find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch. Watch. Be alert. Don't sleep. Don't get distracted. Stay vigilant. This doesn't mean you stop working, stop eating, stop living. It means you live with eternal perspective. You prioritize spiritual things. You refuse to let the urgent crowd out the important. You keep your eyes on Jesus while you navigate earthly responsibilities. Colossians 3:1-2 says, Since then you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Set your heart. Set your mind. This is intentional. This is deliberate. Because everything in our culture is designed to distract you from eternal things and fix your attention on temporary things. Matthew 6:33 gives us the priority. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Seek first, not seek only, not ignore everything else, but seek first. Make God's kingdom your top priority, and everything else finds its proper place. So let me give you some practical steps to combat distraction. First, establish daily time with God that's non-negotiable. Before you check your phone, before you scroll social media, before you dive into the day's demands, spend time with God, read his word, pray, worship. Let eternity set the agenda for your day. Second, regularly fast from distractions. Take a social media sabbatical. Turn off the TV for a week. Put your phone away. Create space for God to speak. You'll be shocked how much noise has been drowning out his voice. Third, examine your calendar and your bank account. They reveal your true priorities. Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money? If eternity barely registers in either place, you're distracted. Fourth, surround yourself with people who share eternal perspective. Find believers who challenge you, who remind you what matters, who refuse to be lulled to sleep by the normalcy of life. Fifth, meditate on eternity. Read Revelation, study prophecy, think about heaven, think about hell, think about standing before God. Let the reality of what's coming shape how you live today. Sixth, practice saying no. No to good opportunities that would distract from God's best. No to commitments that would crowd out spiritual priorities. No to the tyranny of the urgent. Here's what we must understand. We're living in the days Jesus described, the normalcy, the routine, the distraction. It's all happening right now. And just like in Noah's day, just like in Lot's day, most people, including many believers, are completely oblivious. They're eating, drinking, marrying, buying, selling, building, planning. They're consumed with career, family, entertainment, comfort. They're worried about retirement, about their kids' college, about their next vacation. And they're missing the signs. They're ignoring the warnings. They're unprepared for what's coming. But you don't have to be. You can choose to wake up, to pay attention, to refuse distraction, to live with one eye on eternity while you handle earthly responsibilities, because Jesus is coming, not someday in the distant future, soon. And when he comes, he's not going to ask about your career success, your bank account, your social media following, or your entertainment choices. He's going to ask, were you watching? Were you ready? Did you live for me or for yourself? Don't let distraction rob you of eternal reward. Don't be like the people in Noah's day who had 120 years of warning but were too busy to listen. Don't be like the people in Sodom who thought Lot was joking when he warned of judgment. Be like Noah, faithfully building the ark while everyone else is distracted. Be like Lot, trying to warn others even when they won't listen. Be like the 5 wise virgins, keeping your lamp filled with oil while you wait for the bridegroom. Before judgment comes, Jesus said people would be distracted, not by obvious evil, not by catastrophic rebellion, but by normal life, by the daily routine, by the endless demands of earthly existence. But you have a choice. You can be distracted, or you can be vigilant. You can be caught off guard, or you can be prepared. You can sleep, or you can watch. Ephesians 5:15-16 says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil." The days are evil. Time is short. Eternity is near. Live accordingly. If this message has awakened something in your spirit, if you're realizing you've been distracted, and it's time to refocus, subscribe, and continue this journey with us. We're committed to calling believers to readiness, to eternal perspective, to lives that count for eternity. Until next time, refuse distraction, stay vigilant, and live every day with your eyes on Jesus.